Hi everybody, it's me, I'm Matt Hawes of The Happy Show, and also from Comics Unlimited in Evansville, Indiana. And additionally, I graduated from Central High School here in Evansville in the year 1987. That's 25 years ago. Anyway, as many of you who watch The Happy Show will know, I'm an artist. My forte is comic book art, but of course I've done all sorts of kinds of things in all the years. And during my years at Central High School from 1983 to 1987, I also did a lot of stuff for the school. I would do posters for the school plays. I did stuff like flyers for the Central radio station. I did the cookbook for the French club, and buttons that went with that was worn by local TV personality and weather person Marcia Yaki on the evening news. I did all sorts of stuff there. In my final year, I was approached by a well-known teacher to draw a bear, the Central Bear. I was told that this was a contest, as I recall. I didn't know, the details. All I know is he asked me to go redraw this bear, and what it is down in the gymnasium, which to this day, as I understand it, they still have this bear. There's a large painted bear that's down there. They use this painted bear as a backdrop for the sports photos of the teams whenever they put it in the yearbook and such. So I went down to the gymnasium and I drew basically my version of this bear. At the end of the school year, I didn't hear nothing of this. I mean, if it was a contest, I didn't know if I had won or anything. In fact, to be honest with you, it kind of left my mind for that period of time. And then a couple years later, in 1989, my brother, who was younger than me, he graduated from high school that year, going to Central as well. And he got in the invitations that you order from the school if you want to do so to send out to people. And he had gotten some of those in, and on there was a little gold embossed bear. And I recognized it right away, being my drawing of the bear. I mean, its details were a bit softened because of the embossing method, but it was the same bear, I could tell. And I was like, well, that's interesting. I must have won that contest. And in the 25 years since, my version of the bear has been used over and over and over and over again. It's been used for, I guess, different posters. I've seen it in the newspaper. I've seen it on calendars. I've seen it on invitations. I've seen it on folders. I've seen it in the books and stuff like that. I mean, they've used this bear on T-shirts. They've sold T-shirts. I think just as recently as this past year, they were selling T-shirts with this logo, as I understand it. They've used the bear on all sorts of things. In fact, for a number of years, I think better part of a decade, if not more, they used my image of Central Bear on their sign for Central High School that faced First Avenue. So you would drive by each day, you could see my bear up there, donated by the class of 96, by the way, that sign was, but no mention of the drawing was actually over a decade before that. My point with this is I never have received any kind of credit that I'm aware of for the drawing of this bear. I did sign my picture of that bear. It has a signature right to the side of it, and that has always been cropped out of each time that this thing was used. And there's a funny thing about the bear that it was actually a mistake I made. It wasn't intentional, as I recall, but yet it stands out as a further sign that this is my bear, I guess. There's 4 claws on one paw, upper paw. There's 5 claws on the other upper paw. It's actually the same situation on the bottom paws, but reversed. So there's 4 on one bottom paw and 5 on one bottom paw. Besides the lack of credit that makes this all frustrating for me is the fact that I've talked to people who still work as teachers for Central, more than one over the years, and mentioned this. And whenever they bring it up, broach the subject with somebody who's, I don't know, the principal or whoever, I'm not sure, but one of the other teachers there who are in a position to know something about the matter, it seems like they almost don't want to give me credit. It seems like they're also, I understand one teacher was led to remark something along the lines of, what does he want, money? Which, no, I get that that's not going to happen because, schools are used to using free labor off their students since there's been schools, I guess. I don't think it's right, but that's not ever my problem. I understand that. I just want recognition. That's it. Not parade, not anything kind of crazy, not no assembly. I just acknowledge that I drew the dang picture. One of the teachers that was trying to help me get this straightened out forwarded to me the response from the principal, I think it was, and maybe the vice principal or something, who claims that he has seen this bear being used prior to my tenure at the school. And I've done research now. He said in the yearbook. So I thought, okay, well, yearbooks, I'll check classmates.com and I'll check the library and such. And pretty much from the years 1969 or 68 even all the way up to pretty much my year, the year 1987 that I graduated, I did not see, well, obviously I'm not going to see my bear because I know I drew it, but I did not even see a bear that was an exact replica in any way. I seen one very similar in the first year. I noticed this was 1983 on the yearbook. A 1983 yearbook has a bear that's a similar looking bear, but it's not exact. It's clearly the bear that was used also as the basis of that painting I spoke about earlier. Now this painting is like, I don't know, it's got to be 10 feet tall or more that they have in the gymnasium. They use it as a backdrop for the sports teams. So basically, I think that bear was painted after this other bear that was on the 1983 yearbook cover, because I do not see, looking through these other yearbooks, there's no sign of this bear that I saw throughout the 70s. I've not seen any other examples of this bear before the 1983 yearbook. There's no credit that I could find on that bear either. They're pretty good about, that the school is, about not giving credit. And so I did not see any credit, so I assume this was some clip art. Honestly, it didn't look like it was drawn by a student. It's pretty polished looking and professional, and frankly, I think the drawing that I did in 1987, I don't think was as good as it. But why didn't the school use that any further? I think it was clip art, maybe trademarked. I don't know. For some reason, that would explain why the school would want a student to recreate something similar. And the painted form, the painted board, that couldn't be used for reproduction in any other format. Any kind of, you couldn't take a picture of that and print it on a sign like they did on other signs. It just wouldn't work. So they couldn't use the painted version. They couldn't apparently use this other version, which is the only other version of a liner I could see. After my tenure, I saw a yearbook another drawing of a bear that's very similar position, but again, it's not exact. That bear, for whatever reason, they chose not to continue to use. You got the original 1983 bear that I saw on the yearbook cover. There's the painted bear that they essentially used. This seems to have started around 1983 or so, 82, 83. I have not seen really any examples of the painted bear before this era either. And then, of course, in 1987, you have the drawing I did. Right here, you can look at the 1983 picture with my 1987 picture. You can see clearly the differences. The position of the paws, everything. There's a lot of difference there. It is basically, it's a bear. It's a brown bear or whatever the central bear is supposed to be. So it's not going to look a great deal different, but it's basically a similar position for the bear. But it's clearly still different. There's distinctive differences in those drawings. And as far as the painted bear, as far as I can see, there's still distinctions between that and what I drew too. It's been 25 years, so I don't recall how accurately I did a version of that image. And I have seen my bear altered at least one time. I was actually at a pizza establishment that had a school poster from about, 2010 maybe, 2011, 2010, somewhere in that area. And they had the picture of my bear with a crudely pasted up head, changing the position of the head. But otherwise the body was still the same. Honestly, my bear is the one that they've used over and over and over again for 25 years. And again, to restate, I'm not asking for any kind of monetary compensation. I know it wouldn't happen if I wanted to, and how do you figure that out? Yes, the schools are non-profits, supposedly. They sell, but they sell this stuff in any kind of format, from t-shirts to, posters, hats, whatever. I don't know, books and folders and stuff. They've sold this thing a number of times. And again, I'm used to the fact, and I think we all know, the schools use students to go ahead and create stuff for the schools for their continued use with no expectation of compensation from children that they use. I get that. Okay, but I think I at least deserve credit, and not just me. I said, before about that other bear from 1983. Frankly, I want to know who created that too. And I think that guy deserves credit. And if he's a national advertising artist, then he really needs credit. If it was clip art, made for schools to use, okay, then, maybe the clip art, then credit the person specifically, then credit the publication you took it from. I don't know. But it probably isn't going to happen with those, and it probably won't happen with me. But I just want to go ahead and state my side of this whole affair, because the frustration I've had trying to get some understanding from the school on this. I hear about these teachers, and it always sounds like they want me to just shut up about it. I mean, like basically they don't. It's not like, oh well, yeah, maybe we should have given credit, but we apologize or whatever. Nothing like that. It's nothing like that. It's always kind of suspiciousness, and kind of like almost I don't know. Maybe they think, why? Who are you? I'm the guy who drew your bear that you've used for 25 years. Anyway, that's my rant. I'm sorry, the Happy Show guy ranting. But anyway, that's my rant, and I don't know if anything will become of it, but there you go. It's out in the open. Yay!